Hey everyone, I'm contemplating getting another car soon, and I thought I'd make a video to remind myself and to remind my viewers about the dangers of distracted driving. I've destroyed two cars from being distracted. You see, the funny thing is that when I was telling my girlfriend about my driving problems, she thought I used to have a drinking problem. She knew I used to be very overweight, and I told her about how I lost a lot of weight when I was 16 years old. She thought that I also had a drinking problem. And I laughed because I kind of do, except that my drink isn't alcohol, it's distractions. And Anyways, after the weather gets better, I'm hoping to get another car and to move into the car. I It's actually quite comfortable to live in the car here in the Seattle area for what I'm doing. I want to remind myself of some issues that I have. My first accident, or a major accident where I totaled the car, was about 5 years ago. And what had happened was that it was a really bad day in terms of the weather, but somehow I just needed to go see my girlfriend in Rochester. I used to have pretty severe mental health issues. They're better controlled now. I just couldn't see any alternative, and it really was comforting to go see her. I was living in Pittsburgh, I was working at Google. She was in Rochester, New York. Except that I could have scheduled the trip a little bit better. I could have taken a few days off work to kind of stretch out the trip a little bit instead of driving when I was that tired. And right after seeing her, anyways, on the way home, it was a lot of snow. And actually, it's kind of funny. What had happened was that for some reason I couldn't get cash. And I didn't want to go on the toll roads because then I would have to deal with not having cash and contacting them to pay it. So I drove on one of the side roads, and which weren't cleaned as well, and I ran off the road because of the snow. And then as soon as I ran off the road, I realized that I had a lot of um, change in the center console from searching coins. Change I need to get rid of. Like, oh, why didn't I remember I have that? And it was just I was just depressed about work, needing to get away from it, needing to go see my girlfriend. I didn't want to have an aftermath of the trip to deal with, having to call the New York Thruway to pay the toll, or however they deal with it. I don't even know how they deal with it. This is one of my downfalls. I love when everything is resolved right there and then, except sometimes in trying to do that, I create a bigger problem. Like, instead of having an unpaid toll, I have a car accident instead. I've talked about this in other videos where sometimes I penny wise and pound foolish almost. I hate having hanging items. For example, sometimes I if I'm going on a trip, I'll make sure all the credit cards are paid up to date before I leave, just in case. I don't want to have to go on the trip and realize I can't go into online banking or something of that nature. I go on a trip and I make sure that everything at home is resolved. Sometimes it makes it very difficult to go on vacation. It's very hard to. That's why I love the job I'm working at currently. I'm working at a tutoring center. It's called C2 Education. Um, when I leave the doors at C2 in the evening, there isn't much hanging. Yeah, the kid probably needs tutoring next week, but that's next week. It doesn't hang there. When they close on Fridays and Saturdays. I could leave Thursday night and go on a vacation and come back Sunday morning, and there's nothing hanging there during those 2 days. I didn't get that feeling working at Google, and that's the problem there. Anyway, that was the first accident. And the second time I totaled my car was last August. I'm waiting till August to get the car because the accident will be 1 year old. and that looks a little bit more favorable on my driving record. And plus, weather will be better in August. Maybe a little bit before August. Maybe I'll just get a shorter term insurance policy and then renew it in August. And what had happened in August was that I was driving down one of the interstates here, and all of a sudden, I got some ideas for some computer games, and I started thinking about my ex-girlfriend because she didn't like how I wrote computer games, and just had a bunch of chatter in my mind about arguments that we got into over my computer games, and how I won some gold medals anyway, and how she's out of my life, and I think she got engaged. She wasn't engaged at the time of my accident. She was, I think, dating somebody else, and I was just hoping that they were doing well, and I actually didn't have any bitter feelings. I was hoping her well, and what else was going on? And I was thinking about how, you know, a worry I have is that I'm going to die and leave my games behind. There's a lot of things to do in my games. 100 years from now, I'm still going to probably feel that way about my computer games. I'm probably going to die with unfinished computer games, no doubt about that. And then I start to wonder, you see, the reason I broke up with the girl was because she wanted children. And then I started to realize maybe that wasn't such a bad idea after all, because I would have children to continue writing my computer games. And as I'm thinking about that, I realize the cars in front of me are like half a second away, and I jam on my brakes, and kaboom, it totaled the car. And it turned out well, because I got a speeding ticket as a result of that, following too closely. And I went to court, and I explained that I was out of work, and also the judge offered to drop it to basically something that won't go on my driving record, and offered to allow me to work it off with community service. And while doing the community service, I met my current girlfriend, so it turned out well. And it'll be a while before she wants children, hopefully, and they'll buy me some time to do some things that I want to do. What else is going on? Anyways, distractions, and anxieties about not being able to pay the toll, about seeing my girlfriend. What else have I done? I've had a few other fender benders. I rear-ended somebody one time because I was worried about going home and having to do laundry and do my to wash dishes, and next thing I know, kaboom! And that wasn't so bad. What else did I do? When I used to ride bikes, I was going to school at RIT, and in the parking lot they have this hill that goes down a steep slope. I'd estimate about a 10-degree slope. And I used to get fixated about how fast I could go down that slope. You know, I get excited when I looked at the wind forecast, and the wind was coming from the west, you know, because the slope goes east. I got really excited, and I've had several accidents going down that slope. One time, actually, I was going down that slope when I realized my brakes weren't working, and I swerved to try to turn around. In doing so, I hit a metal trash can, and I flew off the bike. And you see, I have an issue with vaccines, and the medic who came to me was asking when was the last time I took a tetanus vaccine, and I lied to him and said I took it like 6 months ago because I didn't want to take one. I was worried that they would force me to. And unfortunately, I didn't get the vaccine, and I continued on my day, not thinking much of it. I declined going to the hospital. I didn't think it was that bad. And then later that day, I continued on my way to go to a bank to get coins to search. Used to be addicted to searching rolls of coins. And got back to my office, started searching them, when I realized, oh my god, why is everything red? And I realized that I was gushing blood, and I hardly felt anything. My nerve cells were probably damaged from the accident. and I took a bunch of old clothing and I wrapped it around the cut, and I put tape all around it, and it was good, but it just highlighted how distracted I was with searching coins and with impressing all the girls on campus on how fast I could go in my bike. And yeah, I see, part of the problem is that driving and riding bikes is sometimes when you do it too much, it becomes so second nature that you hardly think. It's kind of like how you can eat without thinking, or how you can sleep without thinking, or sometimes people. Like yesterday, a lot of people probably didn't pay attention to too many details in the Super Bowl. They watch football so often that they kind of tune out to some of the things. They probably can't remember the score now. See, the first time when I drive the car off of the dealer's lot, I'm going to pay attention to that because I probably haven't driven for some time. Last time I went like 2 years without driving. This time it's like a year. Or when I go take the driving test, I looking at a job in another country. If I move there and I have to retake my driving license, I'll definitely be paying much more attention to the driving test. It's not every day that you take a driving test. And I get desensitized to it is what I'm trying to say, and that's a big problem. Thanks for watching.